If you look at this number right here, this is where the timestamp is going to be at for where you can skip forward and jump to only the slideshow of the TRX issues. So if you want to forward this vehicle to your service advisor or your salesman, they'll be like, hey, can you check my TRX out? These are the issues that have been found. There you go. For everyone else who will hear me run my mouth for a few more minutes, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Butter the Great. And this video right here, we got some more bad stuff to talk about, right? First you thought it was bad with this one. Then you probably thought it was okay, maybe that one's understandable. But this next one I got for you, yeah, might be pretty pissed and you might want to go grab your drama today. And hopefully you'll forward this video to your service advisor or your salesman. If I had them to look over your truck when you finally get it, because you don't want to end up like these two examples right here, getting flatbedded on the first day of taking delivery. So enough of this fluff. Let's get into this stuff. So in this video, we are going over where to find the list of issues for the TRX right now. I'm gonna talk about the slideshow that's gonna be in this video and some updates to some of these trucks that were in these two videos, because some of them, when they got fixed, more stuff was found. Now, before I get into this mess, I wanna welcome all you newcomers to the channel, because the last 2 weeks, I think I gained 200 plus subscribers. So if you're new here and you haven't seen the other videos in the playlist, go check them out right here. Usually they're about 5, 6, 7 minutes long, so they're not long. So that'll get you up to speed on the ups and the downs that's been going on with the Ram TRX since December. Only like the last 2, 3 videos has been like 15, 20 minutes long, because honestly, I don't have enough time to edit 5, 6, 7, 5-minute videos. So sorry about that. So with that foreplay out the way, let's get into it. Now, the first thing I'm talking about is the build tracker. Now, I said in a few videos ago, the build tracker is gonna have a tab in it called TRX Issues. And in that tab, you can go look and see all the issues that's affecting the TRX right now. So you can look and see what part was wrong with it, like the oil sensor, or maybe some oil lines leaking, or maybe someone didn't connect the windshield wipers fluids, or someone forgot the bolts in the dampener. And I also did some tweaking over the weekend and added links to every single issue in this page. So if you want to see what happened to the floor mats, boom, a link is right there. If you want to see the engine squeak one, the link is right there. If you want to see the transmission exploding, well, not the transmission exploding, but the front diff exploding, that link is in there. So if your truck is having a similar issue to one of these, you go look at this list right here, click on the form link, and you can see what happened to get it resolved. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of these issues, because we got some updates to do. This one right here, I'm sure you remember, with the engine tick sound, still in the shop getting diagnosed. So it's not just a simple engine tick sound. So whenever someone figures something about that one, I'll make sure I do an update on that. If you remember this one here from the first defective video, this is the one that had the fuel door that fell off. This one here also has an exhaust tips that are crooked. This one here with the minor paint issue, right? I'm gonna show you the center console on this truck. So if you look at it, let me know if you can figure out what's wrong with it. Do you see anything wrong with it? Let me cut out the middle and then put them together. Now you should see what's wrong with it, right? One side got smooth leather and another side got crinkly leather. So 2 different types of leather put on it. So now I'm curious about this one right here, because this one had like a low RPM rumble, and the dealership found out that someone put the wrong injectors in the cylinder. So I don't quite understand how that one happened, but hey. On this one right here, you can see someone didn't tighten all the exhaust bolts up, so maybe that's why that one might have an exhaust leak. Now, if you remember this one from the first defective video where the front diff exploded on this one, they got a new diff that came in, but when it went and got installed, it still didn't work in four-wheel drive, because the transfer case also got destroyed when this front diff went out. So now he has to wait yet again for the transfer case to come in. Now, the last two I'm gonna talk about is gonna be crazy, because these two happened last week. Now, this first one right here, right, like I said, has nothing to do with Ram. It's all has to do with the transport company. Because if you look at this one right here, you see the damage to that control arm, you see the damage to the wheel, and you see that the rear shock on this one got obliterated. The short story about this particular truck, for what we think, is it got loaded on like one of those train cars and it slid off and fell and hit like the right side. So that's how the control arm got damaged, that's how the tire got damaged, and that's how the rear shock got damaged. Now, I kind of question how exactly that rear shock got destroyed so bad, because when I went and did research on it, you will see that this shock has a pretty good thick diameter steel rod, right? And it also has like this pretty big cover to protect that rod from impacts. So we don't know exactly how fast this truck was going when it slid off. We don't know, what kind of ramp it hit or whatever. But I'm kind of like, how in the world did this shock get destroyed so bad? I mean, this truck is supposed to be a 6,000 plus pound truck, supposed to designed to jump in the air and do all this other stuff. But I mean, a 510 mile per hour impact. So I mean, if you go off-roading and some rock or stick just happen to be right there, does that mean that shock gonna get destroyed like that? Now, I remember one of Street Speed's videos where he showed a screenshot of Bilstein wanting to get the shocks from him so they can like R&D what potentially happened to his shocks when he did that giant crazy jump that he did. That quite frankly, he's lucky to be alive based on some of the stuff that we've seen over the past few weeks. But enough of that for right now. But going back to the shocks, they did want to get these shocks from him. So maybe this is a situation where someone can reach out to Bilstein, because I don't have any connections to Bilstein. So maybe someone will want to reach out to them and have them go to this dealership to figure out what exactly happened to this shock to fail. Because I mean, I can only think this truck was maybe going maybe 10, 15 miles an hour, get loaded on the ramp before it fell off. Well, not exactly fall, but slide off the ramp. I almost might think I said fail and think this truck is just like total, whatever. So Ram, at this point, we both know you watch my videos. Trust me, I know. That's why you got my truck sitting there. So can one of y'all guys call Bilstein and have them put a rush on this guy's shop, because $9,000 vehicle and he can't drive it. I know there's gonna be like a special order part, because ain't anybody gonna have a $3,000 shop for one vehicle sitting around every dealership in America. So can you guys get Bilstein to go give a rush on this guy's particular shop and take the one that got damaged back to them so they can figure out why this one failed in this particular instance? Like I said, I'm not trying to point any fingers or anything. Things happen. This is out of your control. It wasn't your fault that someone dropped this truck. Well, not dropped, slid the truck off of a ramp. But Bilstein, whatever, if you guys gonna contact Street Speed for his particular shocks when he did his jump, you can at least contact this particular dealership to get this one that actually did fail and it didn't even do a jump. And so now on to the last one I'm gonna talk about, right? So this one right here kind of holds like a special place in my heart, because this one right here is an example of me helping people out. Because like I've said in other videos, I help hundreds of people out every single day, whether it be getting them build information, helping them find an MSP dealer, whatever. Now, this particular one right here, because I've been telling people the last 2 weeks to get their trucks checked out, I had to question when this particular one would have been caught, right? Because like I said in other videos, these trucks are in the air in someone's face. These trucks are driven on a test track designed to test squeaks and rattles, and then they're potentially checked during the PDI check before it goes into an owner's hands. So those are a lot of different ways stuff like this should not ever happen. Now I keep saying the same thing. If you got a TRX, or you're about to get a TRX, or you're gonna get one in the near future, because remember, there's still about 600-700 trucks sitting out in the lot that I have no idea if they're getting checked or not. But if you got a TRX, about to get one, or gonna get one in the near future, have them look at every single bolt on your suspension, because here we go with example number 3 of why something is not getting done properly. Every single defective video has a suspension issue in it. This first one has this dampener bolt missing, right? The second one has this cross-threaded bolt in it. And now here we go for number 3. Let's look at this one. Now, long story short, if you remember in the first defective TRX video, this was the one that had the ripped axle boot that went from like Texas, well, it didn't go from Texas, it went from Louisiana to Florida. So it did that one trip and had a ripped axle boot. So the owner had to wait for a new axle to come in because they wasn't gonna just replace the boot. And while he did, he told them to go check out the rest of the bolts in the suspension, because like I said in other videos, please get your TRX checked. So he went and got a TRX checked, and this is what they found. You look up top, you'll see that yellow dampener is in there, the bolt's in there, right? So that's all good. You look down below, the actual bracket that holds the dampener on the rear axle, you'll notice in the middle, there's a bolt missing. You'll notice at the very left, there's a bolt that's not even threaded in, touching the axle. So it's not even tight. Then you look over on the little right side, that bolt down there, it's almost tight, but it's not tight. Now you look at the other side, you'll see on the left, that's the only bolt that was actually tightened down all the way on this bracket. That is crazy. 1 bolt out of 4 actually tightened down all the way on a bracket. But wait, butter, that's more. Because if you look at this photo right here, that bolt that was supposedly missing, it was actually threaded in wrong, and you see it broke off. Then if you look at the ones below it, it kind of like it was cross-threaded when it was put in there, which is probably why it didn't go in all the way, because there's a little piece of metal that's like kind of sticking up out of the hole. So maybe that bolt was particularly cross-threaded, which is why I couldn't go in there. And then someone cross-threaded that one, which is why it either broke off or couldn't get in there because they probably snapped the head off. I mean, come on, Ram, you guys are better than this, man. How you supposed to have the Motor Trend Truck of the Year and you can't even put a bolt on a damn bracket? 4 bolts on this bracket cannot be put in properly. One cross-threaded and broke the head off. The other one cross-threaded and the bolt's halfway down. One is put in correctly, but it's not screwed down all the way. And the 4th one is the only one that's holding the daggone bracket on, period, without having it flop. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Stuff just keep popping up week after week after week. I mean, I don't want to hear something happen in week 4. I mean, this is crazy. And at the time of this video, there was no service bulletin out there to tell the dealers to check these bolts, because if it wasn't for me and these other 2 videos and me telling people on the forums to get their trucks checked out, when would this have been caught? If you look at this forum post, he specifically told the dealer to look out for these trouble areas, and here we go yet again. And if you remember 2 weeks ago, when I posted this first defective video, 6 hours later, they sent this email out as a response, because I said in that video, y'all need to come out and say something. Well, they sent this email, and look what it says right there in there. We want to ensure we assemble your vehicle in the highest quality. Someone's not doing that. I got all these journalists doing all these jumps in these trucks. Then you got Street Speed. He jumped the truck 1 time and it's totaled. So luckily his rear end didn't fall out because somebody didn't bolt it properly. So Ram, the ball's in your court because the information's not going anywhere. So Ram, what are you going to do? You gotta at least put a bulletin out to your dealers to have them check the suspension on all these trucks, because like I said earlier, I got about 600-700 trucks that probably have not been checked. So why not put a bulletin out? Hey, look, check these suspension components to make sure nothing happens. Check these hoses to make sure no one is found on the road like this. What you gonna do, Ram? Because we keep finding more and more of these, and I'm pretty sure no one's gonna jump that truck now. So seriously, I wonder how many of you guys are gonna jump this truck and you don't even know where that suspension is even bolted in properly, because here we go, 1, 2, 3. Are we gonna have a 4th one next week? Because that's seeming to be the trend, 1 a week. So the rest of this video is gonna be the slideshow of all the issues, just in case you wanna send this video to your service advisor or to your salesman for them to check out. So the first part's gonna be suspension issues. The second part's gonna be like oil and coolant issues. And then the rest are gonna be just various like vendor issues or whatever. So until the next video, I hope to have some good news to talk about, Ram, because this is literally getting ridiculous that every single week I keep having to go through a suspension problem.
Thank you.